obviously there's been some reports of Carson Soucy not being in the lineup tonight for roster management. Just confirm that. Is he not playing tonight?
Well, as I always tell you guys, we name the starting goalie. Everybody else is a game time decision. I think I'll abide by that reporting that we do every game.
Who's your starting goalie then?
Quickie.
Anything update you can give on where Igor is in his recovery and how close he might be to getting back? And even Adam too. I know Adam's not eligible yet. But.
Yeah, so both of those guys have been skating. They've had a handful of skates to this point so far, which obviously suggests that they're making significant progress. They have not joined the team to this point. That would be the next step, but certainly they're on the ice and they've had a handful of skates to this point.
What have you seen from Ogden since his recent call-up, and do you sense he's playing with a little bit more confidence, especially after he was able to score his first goal?
Yeah, I do. I think, Otter's been good on the forecheck. I think he can really skate. He brings a physical dimension to our team. I think he's getting better just with his decision-making away from the puck and just his details defensively, and that's something that, that we've been working with him from day one on. But he's made a few plays. Obviously when he scores his first goal, I think that's a huge relief for him. Also give him a boost of confidence, but I think he's played pretty well on that line that he's on.
Just going off a bit of a tough road trip, I think JT said post-game how hard it is to be positive when you're losing. Just from your perspective, from a coaching staff perspective, I guess, what are you guys trying to do to just keep morale high?
Well, we're trying to be honest with the group as far as where we're at, how we can get better, where the opportunities are to grow and get better, so we get different results. But we're not going to come in every day and create an environment where we're adding to the difficulty that when teams go through this stuff. These guys are human, and they're when you go through stretches where it's a struggle to win games, it affects people differently, and so we're trying to celebrate some of the small successes that we can with good things that are taking place on the ice, and make sure that we reinforce that so that we can continue to do those things, and then we look for opportunities where we think we've got to improve and get better in order to get more consistent results. And so it's always a fine line between coaching the group a certain way for improvement, but also having an understanding of where we're at from a mindset standpoint. And I think my experience has been when teams go through these types of challenges, we certainly don't want to make things more difficult. We want to try to support them and help them through the process and bring some solutions to the table, and that's what we're trying to do.
The last time you played Boston, it didn't end well. Is that motivation when you play them again tonight for the team, or does that, do you just not want to think about that game?
Well, I don't think that game was. I don't think that game was representative of how the group has played. I think we got to make sure that that we bring our very best game. Boston's played extremely well as of late. They're, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're 8-2 in their last 10. They beat a lot of good teams. Their power play's third in the league. Their power play can be a difference maker. So we have a ton of respect for that team and how good they are, and we've got to make sure that we bring the right effort, the right energy, and the collective effort that we need so that we can be more difficult to play against. I think that game got away from us in Boston, and there are a number of reasons for it. But I think we just got to make sure that that we control what we can out there, and it starts with our mindset before the puck's dropped.
When you say it got away from you, do you think that had a lasting effect, that game, on the team? Obviously, you didn't win you've only won one game since then. Do you think that sort of had a lasting effect at all?
I don't think so. I think, I think there, as I said, I felt like the game got away from us. I don't think it was, the way it was played, that it was necessarily, the score was representative of how the whole game was played. It got away from us down the stretch. second half of the game, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't think that's representative of this group.
I wanted to ask you about Charlie, if you don't mind. I know it's not unique to tonight that you face him or be on the ice, but just what these games, you know, what they're like for you when he's on the other team, and just in general, you talked about the power play, you talked about how well they're playing, just kind of how he's doing since coming back.
Well, he's a big reason why they're having success. He's a difference maker as a player is concerned. You know, when there's always mixed emotions amongst our family when we play against each other, as you guys can only imagine, because you know somebody's going to end up on the wrong side of the score, and that's never an easy thing from a family standpoint. But it is what it is. He's obviously a terrific player, and you know, and as I tell him all the time, I root for him. I'm one of his biggest fans, except when he plays the Rangers, and so we're going to compete hard. We're going to do everything we can to try to win this game, as I know he's going to do the same because he's a fierce competitor.
Does that make the upcoming Olympic experience even that much more special, that you're on the same side?
Well, for sure, when we're on the same side, it makes life easier. That's for sure. You know, and what I will tell you is that I look forward to that experience. It was, I think, going through it with the Four Nations experience and having the opportunity to coach them in an event like that is unique. And it took on, I think, from a personal level, it took on a whole different meaning amongst our family to have that opportunity to share those moments together. And I would envision that the Olympics would be very similar in that regard.